Hey everybody, back here to finish off the field office model. Um, Daniel, did you get in a fight? No, I got sick. My immunity went down. I've got a few cold sores. That's not of any importance. Let's hop straight into the model. I did want to show that I have the drawings open here and the guide open in Bluebeam. And the guide, by the way, you can access each part of the guide through the bookmarks part of Bluebeam here, just an update that I did to it. But this time, to start finishing off the model, we're gonna go right ahead with doors, okay? So let's go to the model here and go into it right away, okay? To finish off the model, there's a lot of things that are repetitive, so I'm essentially going to show you one of these things. So for example, there's 5 doors, I believe. So I'm going to show you one door and you guys deal with the rest. Same things with windows, curtain walls, components. It's going to be a whole thing. All right. Okay. So to start off the doors, how about we do the door on the interior side of the vestibule here. By the way, I also fixed the links here. So now you can actually click on the details. So let's say you're trying to do the staircase, which we will. If you click here on the link, it's going to take you straight to the staircase detail here. All right. Without further ado, let's work on this door here. All right. So if we look closely, the door has an identifier. All right. And that's 103. So this door is door 103. If we scroll down to our schedule, okay, and we have door schedule down here, we can see door 103 is a glazed door at an entrance. It's on the ground floor. This is the family, door exterior double chew light, and it's an 84 by 84, okay? These are also important, but not for the purpose of choosing the family itself. What we need to know is that it's a door exterior double chew light, 84 by 84, okay? So into Revit, okay? First of all, if you notice here on the door, there's actually a wall here. This door is directly on the exterior wall. These are curtain walls, but then this doesn't sit on a curtain wall. It just sits on a wall, P01, just like the wall behind the lobby here. So let's first put that down. So we're going to go into walls. We have P01 here selected, and this wall is attached to the back here, but this one is directly centered. Let me make sure that it goes from the wall center line here. And if you had trouble putting this wall to the edge there, once you have the wall in place, you can just use the align tool here, click on the column, and then align the wall this way to do that. But this one is centered, so it's not a problem. Okay. Under the architecture tab, we're going to go to the door tool. When you look for the door, you're going to realize that it's not here. We have door exterior single chew light, but we don't have double. Now, this is very common in Revit. Revit only has a few components loaded into the project. Otherwise, Revit would be even heavier and more taxing on the computer, and it'll be really hard to run it if it had so many things loaded in. But what Revit does is when you install the product, it installs all of these components that you can use, but they're not just loaded in. So all you have to do is access them, okay? So the door that we have, we're going to have to go to Load Family here under the Modify tab. Okay, so I'm going to click on Load Family. And it's going to open into US, okay? If you don't have these folders, which sometimes if you install the program in your own laptop, you might run into the issue that install the program, but not the extra folders. If that is the case, they did this trick here that is pretty funny because this is not a Revit file. This is just a message that they left behind that if you don't have the files, you use this website. So you can copy here and you have to replace dot and slash with the actual periods and forward slashes and whatnot. But this takes you to the website where you can download Revit. The Revit folders, I'm not going to show you because it's most likely that you don't have this issue. But if you do, you go into there, you click on the Revit year that you have. I have 2024 here. I know some of you have 2025. If this is further into the future, you might have other versions. But you click on the version that you have, and then you go to the Imperial folder, and that's what you download, okay? Back to the doors here. These folders are going to be something that you're going to have to become familiar in this assignment. There's a lot of things, a lot of components that you're gonna have to look for. And I'm not gonna tell you where they are. I'm gonna show you one, and then the rest you guys are gonna just have to look for it. And it's gonna be a little bit of a pain, but you're just gonna have to go through and try to find them, okay? So we're going to look into doors, and within doors, just letting you know, if you click on a component and you use your arrow, you can see that very useful little preset on the right there. We're gonna go into commercial because I already know that 0002 light, it's right here. We're gonna click open. It's gonna give us multiple choices to choose between. And you can hold control to select different ones. Or for example, you can hold shift and select a bunch. In this case, we only need 84 by 84, so I'm just gonna select that one and hit OK. Once I have the door, it's gonna come right into our properties tab here. It might not select it right away. It did here. If you don't have it selected, all you have to do is click on it and come to it. And all I'm gonna do is place my door down. No worries about where it is. To place a door, you have to be by a wall. It won't show anything unless you are by a wall where the door can be placed in the first place, okay? Just like walls, the doors have these arrows. It lets you change the direction of the door as well as the swing. This is a double door, so it doesn't make sense here. Let me put a single door down just so you understand the swing. Right. If you have a single door, you can change not only the direction spacing, but also the swing of the door. This one, oh, I changed it. That one doesn't change because it's a double door. So obviously they swing to both sides same way. Okay, so let's look at our drawing really quick. The door swings to the inside, and if we take a peek here, it has 5 feet from each of the grid lines here, 2 and 3. So let's do that. Swings to the inside. And if we use our measurement tool from the center line, be very careful. It's not these adjacent lines here, it's the center. It's going to be 5 feet. And the way to do that is just by clicking on the door. And then we're going to use our 5 feet right there. Okay, so that's the door. Essentially showed you how to load it in, how to put it down, and that's it. Very simple. You guys can do the rest of the doors, okay? In this video, I'm not going to model the whole part of the second practicum. You guys are going to worry about everything. I'm just going to show you how to do one of each. Okay, so we have doors done, right? So now that you have doors, and as simple as that was, there's a page and a half here for you guys to take a peek. And now let's look at windows, and it's only half a page because very similar to doors. So I'm gonna go to Windows, and sorry, I get ahead of myself here because I already know what some things are, but let me do it the way you guys are gonna do, which is for each place down a window, you need to know what window you have, right? So let's go to our floor plan. Let's work with this window right outside the bathrooms here. It is window 34. We go to the window schedule. We have 334 here because they're all the same. And these are instance window fixed, and they are 4 by 6 with a sill height of 3 feet and a head height of 9 feet. Sill height here being the distance from the ground, and then head height being the distance from the top of the wall, which really just fall in between the two elevations, right? The ground floor and the flat roof level. Okay, so instance window fixed. Let's look for that. I already know that it is not here. We're going to go again into load family. And you can use this button here to go up a folder. We know that it's not within doors. We're going to go to Windows, the very first folder here. And I already know that it is all the way at the bottom. Here, instance window fixed. Again, when you're looking for something, you can use the arrow so that you can have that little preset and actually get you a look at what each thing is. Okay, so instance window fixed. I'm going to open it. You're going to notice that nothing pops up because this window has parameters that can be changed. So it doesn't have a, for example, how the door was 84 by 84 and you had different sizes. This one, you can just change it to whatever you want, right? So you really have two choices here. You can place it and edit it later, or you can edit it first and place it. Let's just go ahead and edit it first here. I have a sill height of 3 feet. That is correct. And then it should be a height of 6 and a width of 4. So height of 6, width of 4. There it is. I'm going to hit apply. And I'm just going to place the window down. It's weird. The symbol looked small just because of what the settings were before, but once I place it, now it looks big again. The window, same thing. You can change the direction here. This is the window pane on the outside. This is the window pane. Oh, this is the window pane on the inside here. I'm gonna leave it to the outside. Let's see if we hit it in 3D. That's what it looked like there. And let's actually position it properly because everything has to be dimensioned. So going back to the ground floor plan. Oh, I fixed the bookmarks as well. There we go. Floor plan. We notice that the window is 9 feet and 8 inches from this first grid line A here, okay? And the window is 4 feet in diameter. So let's put our measurements down from the edge of the window. And then obviously the window is 4 feet. We already determined that. I'm just gonna click on the window and then 9 feet 8. I'm just gonna do 9 space 8, hit enter, and now we have our window in place. Very simple as well. Especially simple because we have many windows that are that 34, the same denomination, and that means that you can copy and paste it. So I can copy this window, try to paste it with the same dimensions and just put it somewhere else, and that makes it very easy. Okay. The only window that is different is the window in the tower. And this window has different parameters. So let's take a quick peek at it. I'm going to let you guys do it by yourself, but I just want to show you that the window pentagon here, right? We have a width, we have a height, still head height, but I also want you guys to be very careful here because we have this different distances between the top of the square shape and the peak of the window. And if we go take a quick peek at it, so I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna show you guys if I load family here. I don't know where this one is, so let's take a peek and look for it. Oh, there it is. Window fixed pentagon. And honestly, I'm just gonna load whichever one in because we're gonna edit it. Okay, and I recommend that you guys duplicate when you create yours. But I just wanted to show you that if you click on this has like the window inset and the sill height which we actually use. But I just want to show you that if you click on edit type, you see the width, the side height, the peak height, and then the width, which these are the things that actually matter to you, okay? And you can change the materials if you really want. I believe I'm not instructing you guys to do so, but I know that when I made the model for the first time, just to look nice, I made the side of the roof be aluminum, and I made the outside of the windows look like aluminum, and this window as well should be aluminum, just so it matched and looked nice. And I also made the flat roof a lighter color just so it was a little bit clearer to see. But the black top that you guys have is correct. This was just so you could actually see what the heck was going on. But yeah, no, Windows, same thing. Like I mentioned, there's only half a page here because it's so simple, mostly like the doors. But showed you how to do Windows, and now you should be able to do all of them within the project. So we got doors and windows out of the way. The last thing standing between us and finishing the exterior walls are curtain walls, okay? So let's learn about curtain walls. They look like windows. They are walls, hence the name. So it's going to be under the architecture tab, under the wall command, okay? When you look at the list here, it's going to be all the way on the bottom. Scroll all the way down. We're going to have our not defined, our exterior glazing, and our storefront. And I just want to show you the difference between those really quickly. So let's just go into 3D here. And I'm going to really quickly show you the difference between each. So we got not defined. Okay. Not defined creates a glass panel that you can create grids and then make your mullions. Your exterior glazing creates a set that already has the grids for you. Okay, so this is just a glass panel. This is not defined, and you can make it from scratch because you don't have any mullions or any definition at all. This one creates it with a equally spaced grids. And the grids here, you can adjust the vertical grid and the horizontal grid within the properties tab. How it's justified. So for example, this says beginning, the horizontal grid says beginning. That's why this is equal length, equal length, equal length, equal length, then shorter. It's because they're being justified within the beginning. If you change the horizontal grid to, let's say, end, or actually, let's say center. Oh, that was the horizontal. Let's change the, oops. Let me change the horizontal. Oh, I guess where to be center here. Now you're gonna have a smaller one on each end, and then equal, equal, equal. And these can all be unlocked and then moved. It's adjustable as well, but it just creates something right away for you. And then storefront creates a whole system that's equally divided by the parameters that Revit already has in place. Same thing, you can change things, but it just creates it right away for you, okay? We're gonna have, let's look at the drawings here really quick. Our CW03 and both CW02 are just storefronts. So they're just equally divided panels, and I do show you the size that they have here. And that's the reason that I just mentioned that these were equal size, because you don't actually have to know. Revit just puts it down in place for you. But this window, it is personalized, and that's why there's a detail for it. And this is the one that we're going to work on, because if you know how to make this one, you're going to be able to make the rest. Okay, so let's go to our floor plan. And this is where our CW01 is. Back on Revit, we're not going to need these guys. I was just quick showing you. Let's go back to our ground floor plan. And we're going to click on wall. And you guys should create a wall that has a name. I already have it here, CW1, right? You're just going to go to the center of the wall and just going to place it wherever here. And you're going to notice that, sorry, I click off of things so quick that I'm just used to Revit complaining and me ignoring it immediately. But I know that a lot of people, when they're first working with it, they're like, oh no, Revit didn't like it, so it must be wrong. No, this is just telling us that the walls overlap. And like it says here, it can be ignored, so it's not going to break the program, but it's just letting you know that, hey, these things are occupying the same space, right? And you can't see it here, but let's say I made the same thing where the tower wasn't. So let me put it here just so you can see. It is literally clipping through the wall, right? It's literally inside it. Now, how do we fix that? If you click on it and you click on edit type, you see this beautiful little value here that you can turn on. And this didn't used to be a thing. So we used to suffer and have to make individual holes in walls. But now we can just click on automatically embed, hit OK. And now it creates the hole for us, which is such a good feature. And I'm so glad that Revit added. Now, first thing that we should do is added the actual size of the window, right? Because I just made a super tiny one. We need to change the size that it has and where it is. So what I recommend to you guys is, let's look at the little box here, and I see that within the wheel we are looking at the west. So let's look at our west elevation, and here it is. And it's going to be super easy to change it through this view instead. So I'm going to hit tab until I have it. And this way, you're going to be able to change all the measurements, no problem using these arrows, okay? Matter of fact, just to know the distance between the walls, let's look at our drawing here. And I see that we have 3 feet from each of the grid lines. So let's put those measurements down and make those changes first. So very important that you guys don't use this flat line, because this is the wall. We want to use the line that represents the window, which is this dashed line here. I hope it's easy to see it. So we're going to click on that line and then the grid line, put it down. Same thing on this side, grid line, put it down. And obviously the window here. All right, now that we have this dimension, we can click on the window, make this 3 feet. And I believe that if we make this 3 feet, it's just going to move it. Yeah. So let's see if we can make this 9 feet. Yes, we can. And now we can make this 3 feet. Perfect. Okay. So change the size of the window first, and then change the size of the distance between the grids, and it will fix itself. Okay. So we got 3 feet, 9 feet, 3 feet. Perfect. And now we need to know the dimensions that it has within here, the wall. So we see that it has a sill height or a distance from the ground floor of 2, and then it has a distance from the tower of 2 as well. So let's go to our west elevation here. The distance between the grids is already right, and then we just need the distance between the bottom. Again, use the dotted line, dashed line, and the top. Okay, so it's going to put these down, and we can hit tab here to select the window, and it doesn't let you change the measurement itself. In this case, it's just going to be easier to drag it up and down. So, and it's going to lock between measurements when you do so. So it's not complicated. You can see there. So it goes like 9, 9, 6, 10. So it's going to go down to 2. There we go. And then same thing here. Go down to 2 feet. Let's see. This one's a little bit more complicated. 1, 10, 13, 16. 2.25. Oh my. 110. Can I please have 2 feet? 2 feet. There we go. A little bit annoying. Not the end of the world though. Measurement. Okay. Now we have the panel in the correct place. Perfect. We look at it in 3D. Looks like a beginning of something. Okay, so how do not defined curtain walls work? Like I was mentioning before, they're 100% personalized, right? So all I have here as of now is a glass panel, but we need mullions. And the reason that this is personalized and not just a curtain wall is, and not just a storefront, is because if we made a storefront, let's take a peek here. Ground floor, click on wall. If we let's just make this a storefront, matter of fact. Let's see if we can do that really quick. Yes, there we go. So if we make this a storefront, you're gonna realize that it just makes the panels with um the divisions that it has within the program. And we could change it here, but the reason that I'm teaching you how to make it individually is because you're gonna have to eventually do that. So let's just go back and work from 0. Okay. All right. So let's click on the detail here so that we can see what's actually happening. So we have panels that are vertically 3 feet apart from each other, every single one. And then you have a division here right in the middle that's 4, 6. Easy to do. Let's go to our West Architectural. The way to work on this is through these specific tools for curtain walls, which are curtain grid and mullion. Click on curtain grid. The way it works is it allows you to place a whole line crossing the glass panel, and you do this by approaching one of the edges. So if I approach the top edge, it's going to make the line going all the way down, and if I approach the sides, it's going to make one that goes all the way across. So we know that this line is right up the center, and like I mentioned before, it's 4, 6. We're going to put it down, and then these lines are all 3 feet apart from each other. So I'm going to split down 3 feet, 3 feet. And these lines that I'm creating, these lines that I'm creating is, let me check that this is 21 feet, by the way. It is. Three, okay. These lines that I'm creating go all the way across, but if you use one line segment, it's just going to make a line in between the spot that you made. For this matter that we're using, it doesn't really matter, but this is weird. Hold on. 3 feet, 3 feet, 3. I don't think this is exactly 21 feet in height. 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, and then 4, 6, 21. Okay. 3, 9 feet. Okay. I guess it's very minor. No issues. So we have everything 3 feet apart here, and then we have the sides 4, 6. Once we have that, we're going to click on mullion, and this tool does just like the other. It can either do a whole line, or it can do just a part of a grid, or what we're going to do is all lines, and then you can just click, and all the grids they created become a mullion. And now we look in 3D, and we have successfully divided our windows. Okay. Now you're looking at this and you're thinking, wow, I can see the floor through the window. That makes no sense. And that's right, but think about real buildings. There are curtain walls. For example, the E-core building, right? It has curtain walls that go from the bottom all the way to the top. But you never notice that you can see the floors through it. Or we don't even have a ceiling here in underneath the staircase, but there's usually going to be floors and then plenum spaces, which is the space between the floor slab and a ceiling that should be visible through windows. How are these not visible in real life? Well, spandrel glass, okay? Spandrel glass are the panels that are in those areas. And then instead of being clear, they are an opaque color or a dark color that tricks our eyes, and we don't really realize it from the outside, but it's actually hiding something and it's not clear. And that's what we have to do here, and that's the reason that these panels are dark here, right? So to select these panels, I'm just gonna hover over here, and I'm just gonna hit Tab until I can cycle through the panel. And you can either do one at a time, or you can cycle through the next one, hold Control and click that too. Now I select both. And on the properties here, we're going to say System Panel Glazed, and we're just going to go straight on ahead and change that to solid. Fairly simple. Now we have completed the curtain wall from our staircase. That is CW01. Okay. I realized that one thing that I don't teach you in this project is a door within a curtain wall. So I'm just going to quickly show you that. You don't have to follow along. Well, you don't have to do it, but please follow along because this will be useful for Steam services. But I just wanted to let you know that if you're creating a door, and I'm just going to put a double door here, and it's going to look wonky because it's not the right dimensions, but it's just to teach you how to put a curtain wall in place in the first place, okay? If you were to put a curtain wall here, first of all, you wouldn't create a mullion here. Actually, I'm just gonna do it from scratch here. It's gonna be fairly quick. So let me put a curtain wall here, okay? If you put a curtain wall and you're trying to create a door on it, once you make your curtain grids, what you're gonna do is you're gonna leave space for the door. And what I mean by that is while these panels are all cut in half, oops, let's say these here. While all these panels are cut in half, I'm gonna put one more. There we go. If you want a door to go in this area, you don't want to put grids there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on a grid and you're gonna go to add or remove line segments and then just click on the segments that you don't want. Right, so boom, boom. And then for this one, this line segment. And now you see that I just have this area without grids. Like I said, I guess just reserve in your mind that, hey, when I do need to do curtain walls, you can come back to this part of the video to show you, okay? Now that I have this, what I can do is I can go to mullions, click on all grid lines, boom. And then I'm just gonna do one thing here, which is I'm gonna select these on the bottom and delete them. So I just have this panel now. And now that I have this one individual large panel, the way to add a door to a curtain wall is you go through, you have to load it in. So let's go to manage, okay? Or actually insert, yeah, let's go to insert. I'm gonna load family. And you're gonna find it within the doors folder. But the difference between doors that go on curtain walls is that they're not within these doors. They are curtain wall doors. It specifically says curtain wall, okay? So let's say I'm adding a double wall here. You're gonna load this in. And it's interesting because you're gonna load that in, and let's say you're looking at doors, you're not gonna see it here. It's not gonna show up within doors. So you're gonna be confused. Like, how did I just load up that door in and it's not here? Well, it's because it's part of curtain wall system. So if you click here on this panel, I'm gonna hit tab here to go through and select the panel. Click on this panel. Now that we loaded that door in, it's going to be here within the panels. And now I can make these panel, instead of glass, I can make a door. And if I turn the detail to high level here, you see the door handles. And I hilariously made this very large, but just wanted to quick show you guys how to make doors within a curtain wall, because you're gonna need this for steam services, okay? Um, okay, back to what we were working on. We have made, okay, we have made doors, windows, and we have worked with curtain walls. What is next? Let's take a peek here. Staircase. All right. Staircases are, people always have trouble with them, but I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible for you guys, okay? It is not as hard as it looks, and there's a little trick to it that makes your life a little bit easier. Okay. Now, we have the staircase here. When we make staircases in Revit, the way that Revit does it, and the tool, by the way, is under architecture within within circulation here, we have stair. The way that this does is, the way that Revit works is, if we're on the ground floor, it's going to automatically calculate a door, a staircase from the ground floor to the next level, which in this case is the flat roof. What do I mean by automatically calculate? When I click on it, it purposely says, hey, you have 6 risers. So, right, if I count down there, I have 6 drawn and there's 12 remaining. It automatically know how many we need to the next floor. And that's within preset height, okay? But when we're creating the floor here, a tip that I'm gonna give you guys is make the stair outside, dimension it outside of the building, and then let's move it in, okay? So first of all, we know that our staircase is an L, and then I'm gonna do a simple count here, just because we know that it creates by threads and by threads, and because we know that it makes an L shape, we need to know how many are in each direction. So if I count here, I'm gonna notice that I'm gonna count the short here. So we're gonna notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that go to the right, and then obviously this landing is also 1 extra step. So there's 6. Okay, you're gonna draw the portion going up, and you're gonna leave 6 to make the portion going to the right. So let's do that. So I clicked on the bottom. We're gonna go up because the stairs are made from the bottom top. So I'm gonna go until there's 6 remaining. Once it says 6 remaining, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go above the stairs, okay, above it and to the right. It's not that precise. You can just click wherever, but it has to be above it and to the right. I'm gonna click down, and we're gonna make the rest of the steps. What this does is it creates this big step, aka the landing. Okay. Now that we have this, let's measure it. How do we measure it? Let's go to the details. Boom. Okay. We know that our stairs should be 3/8 in diameter. This run should be 10 feet 1, and then this one should be 4 foot 7. And the landing itself is just the width of the stairs. So let's adjust that, okay? So measuring tool, from the step to the wall here, from this step to the wall. So this one is already 3/8. Oh, actually, sorry, I made this incorrectly. From this step to the wall, there we go. Okay, so we know that the size of the landing should change here. So let's click on these stairs. And let's change this to 3/8. And then let's click on these stairs. By the way, when you click on something and it doesn't bring a measurement up, that means that your measurement is not linked to it. So I probably clicked on something wrong, and I'm going to do it again. Well, apparently not. Another thing that you can do is just use these tools to change the size of the landing, and now we have 3/8 by 3/8. Perfect. We have 3/8 by 3/8. We should have 10/1. Perfect. And then 4/7. Perfect. Okay. That means that our stairs are measured correctly. Let's hit the check mark here to finish edit. Always save your project. Okay. Now that we have this created, we can move it within the building. Obviously, the stairs are right up to the corner of the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the stairs that we just made. Okay. We're going to click on the move tool. It's very important that you do it in this order. If you click on the stairs and then move, it's never mind. It works the same. Sometimes this happens. You think something and then it's different. Okay. So Either click on the stairs and hit move, or select the whole thing and hit move. Both work. But very important is that you wanna go. What this does is, instead of moving it this way by just placing it down somewhere else, you actually get to pick a reference point, right? So I want to move it from this edge, okay, from the very edge of the staircase, because I know that the very edge of the staircase goes to the very edge of the drawing. And I'm just going to put it here. And actually, I'm so sorry. Let me put it on consistent color so that we can see that we want to move it to the very edge of the um, gypsum wallboard, okay? So we're going to go right up against the drywall with the stairs here, okay? So boom, I'm going to pick that corner, and voila, we have our stairs exactly where they need to be. Creating it here makes it a little bit difficult because then you need to pick the different measurements, make it outside, then put it in place. Makes it very easy, okay? So our stairs, they go upstairs, right? Right. Do they lead upstairs? No, because we cannot see it upstairs. So go to your flat roof floor plan, which is the one place there, and you're gonna notice the stairs, the handrails are peeking through, but not the actual stairs. Okay. So I already taught you guys how to modify floors, so that's what we're gonna need to do. And the measurements are all on the drawing, like everything else. I'm gonna click on the floor here, double click it, and then I'm gonna use the line tools to draw here the general shape that it has, and then use the measuring to change it. I'm also going to use the corner tool here to make my life easier. There we go. If we go back to the drawings, the flat roof floor plan here, it's going to tell us the actual distance here. So we have from the wall 2 feet 2 inches and a quarter, and then the staircase 7'6" from this end of the slab to this end, and then 3 8 and a quarter to the next wall. Let's do that. So measuring from the wall to this portion to here, and then from here to this wall again. Okay, so what did we say we have? I believe we had 2 2 and a quarter. So again, no need to put any symbols down. Revit understands if you just use spaces. And then this line was 7 6, I believe. This ended up being 3 8 and a quarter. Let's check if that's correct. That is correct. Oh, I'm missing this measurement. I believe it's right up against the staircase. 4 7 and a quarter. Okay. Oh, this measurement here is definitely against the staircase because it has to lead to it. So I'm gonna butt it up right against it there. And then let's use the measurement tool to move this last line. Oops, click on the wrong place. There we go. And this was 4 7 and a quarter. So 4 7 and a quarter. Perfect. Okay. Our slab is in place now. We have the hole. Highlighted walls attached to but missed the highlight targets. Let's detach. See if we created any problems. I think that if we didn't detach, it would create the same problem that we had before, where this wall was like slightly elevated. So make sure you don't do that. All right. Let's look at this in 3D. Something, a very useful tool that you guys may or may not be already familiar with is the temporarily hide, okay? You can very obviously, sorry, not very obviously, nothing's obvious, we're just learning this. Come on. If we right click this, we can hide things. So if I were to click on a wall, we can hide elements or the category. So if I click on a category, it's going to hide every single wall from the project. If I click on element, it's going to hide that one specific. And for the longest time, this is what everybody in my year used until, well, that's what everybody in my year used. But I have also discovered temporarily hide, which is very useful because when you hide using that tool, to unhide, you have to use the reveal hidden elements light bulb here. And that's going to show everything that's hidden in this red light. And then you have to select them through here and then unhide. And that's a painful little process that's honestly kind of unnecessary, because what's easier is to select something that you want to hide. So in this case, let's select these two walls. And if you click on the glasses, you can just temporarily hide them, okay? And when you don't want to do it anymore, all you have to do is reset and they come right back without having to go to a different place and whatnot. But anyway, temporarily hid those. Let's come here. We have our staircase. Now, this is obviously a fall hazard here. We need the railings to go all the way around. So let's fix the railings on the stairs. First of all, outside railing. How often do you see a full railing on the outside of the wall? Not very often, right? So let's change that to guardrail pipe. Oh, pipe wall mount. There we go. That looks more like it, right? Don't mind the fact that it's floating there. How do we fix that? Let's not fix that. Not everything's perfect. This is as far as I need to worry about for this project. And then for this one, it needs to wrap around. So let's go back to the flat roof. And the way the railings work is a simple line. So if I double click it, you're going to realize that it starts from the bottom, as you can see from this arrow, and then it takes a right and goes up top here. Okay, let's make it wrap all the way around. How are we going to do that? Let's pull this line a little bit out. Okay, and then we're just going to use the line tool to go from this edge and just wrap around. I'm just going to do 2 inches. Okay, so it's 2 inches from there. I think it's 2 inches. We're going to double check it. And then to the outside here. Okay, and you can touch the wall. You can leave it almost touching the wall. Let's check that it's 2 inches away from. Oh, I actually got it right here. And then from the corner, let's just change that to 2 inches. 0 space 2. There we go. Very consistent. I think I already made this 2 inches. And now let's just hit OK. And it does look a little bit confusing because the lines overlap. But if you notice, you can have the railing going up the stairs, takes a right, and then this one is just within this floor. Let's hit OK. Now this looks very clunky, and if you notice here, it's actually clipping inside the wall there. Let's change it to the guardrail pipe. And there we go. Very nice. Kind of matches that one, but just on the inside now. And now that we're done fixing that, we can hit the reset temporarily high. But as you can see, not too complicated to make the stairs here. Takes a few extra steps, but no issues. Let's look at our guide again. Okay, so we have dealt with doors, windows, curtain walls, staircases, and now let's look at some missing touches and components. Okay. Something that I realized here is that in our model, we didn't connect the columns to anything, and that's because we didn't have the roof at the time. But what we're going to do here is we're going to select 2 of the outside walls. You can select even 3 here, and I'm going to temporarily hide them. And if we tilt our view here, you're going to see that the columns and even the walls here, so the columns don't go up at all, and then the walls are going right through it. And you can see that the walls are going through because they don't have a line, a dark line going through this part, which means that it's actually going into the object. So all we're going to do here is just attach everything to the ceiling, to the roof, so it makes sense, okay? Click on the wall. It's going to pop up here, attach top to base, and then it's going to click on the ceiling, and that's going to make it so that the wall goes directly to the roof. And we're going to do the same thing with the columns. It might give you warnings, structure column, don't worry. It's just Revit letting you know what's going on. We're just going to attach everything. This is just one of the details that was missed before because, like I said, we created the columns and the walls. The roof wasn't necessarily in place yet. Okay, so attach everything, no problem, super quick. Boom, done with that. Awesome. You're gonna have to do the same thing with the current walls that you put on the inside here, by the way. Okay, we can reset our view, no problem. Okay, so that was the first part. What are we gonna look into now? Okay, floors. Okay. Ground floor, or just looking at the model. Obviously, we have a floor slab, right? But we don't have what we call flooring, right? It's confusing because both are called floors, but all I'm really referencing to is in a real building, you have carpet, you have vinyl floor, you have hardwood floor. That's the floor that I'm talking about. I'm in the wrong document here. I'm just babbling and scrolling. Here. That's the reason that I made these little floor plans on the right here, is so they can look at the floor. Okay. If we take a peek at the floor schedule, you're gonna notice that I have carpet flooring, bathroom flooring, vestibule flooring, and they have a height offset from the level. Okay, very important that you know this. And they also have a thickness. So these are all half inch and they're half inch above because the floor slab has a height, and then you put and that's on the ground level height, and then you put down another floor on top of it. It's going to try to be on the same level. It's going to clip through and be the same. So I just set a little half inch offset there, and you guys are going to have to do that. I'm going to show you really quick. Nothing complicated. Just going to click on floor. You have a generic here. Let's just duplicate it, and I'm just going to call it carpet flooring. And I'm going to hit edit type here. I'm going to make it half inch, and I'm going to pick a carpet that I like. I purposely didn't put the actual material in there because I just wanted you guys to make it whatever you want. The only thing that I do ask of you guys is to take a peek at that mini floor plan that I put down, and the floors should be in these three different areas. So you should have one type of flooring for your bathroom, one type of flooring for your general area, and that's the carpet one that I use, but you can use whatever you want. And then one type of flooring for your vestibule. That's all that I ask, is that you have three different ones. But as a material, you can pick whatever you want here. So let's say carpet. Oh, I can't spell carpet. You're gonna see all these different ones, and you can load them in, and use the render appearance there, and just apply. And then all you have to do is, okay, have a carpet, half inch height, and then offset from level, also half inch. And then you're gonna select your area. So let's say the bathrooms. You're gonna draw it out. One thing that I do want to point out is that, let's say you're doing the bathrooms, right? I'm gonna put the flooring within the drywall. And then something very important is that whenever you have a door, you're gonna have to like do the perfect cutouts for the doors. Okay, so make sure you do remember to do that part, right? Whenever you have a door, you're gonna have to make these cutouts so that the floors connect. Otherwise, you're gonna have like your bathroom flooring, your general area flooring, and there's just gonna be a concrete gap in the middle. So make sure that you draw these specific little areas where the doors are. Okay, I'm gonna click off of it because I was just showing you guys what you're gonna be doing. Okay, so we got floors. Make sure that you do those. Nope, there's no floor on the top. It's just concrete. Um, Okay, what do I have next for us? Force, and then force. Oh, front desk. Yes. Okay, so another thing that you might be confused here is that if you look at the floor schedule, you're gonna notice that I have here front desk counter, right? And you're like, why the heck is a counter a floor? Well, these are just little tricks in Revit, right? So whenever you create, let's say, a kitchen, um, it is often that the kitchen will be planned and it won't just be a standard shape. So how does making a kitchen in Revit work? For example, you're gonna have all the casework, and that's the name of the folder. If you're ever making a kitchen, that's the name of the folder. You're gonna have casework where you're gonna have like different cabinets, and you can put these cabinets down whatever shape you want, and then to make a countertop very easily, what you can do is you can make floor, because guess what? Floor is just the name of the tool. Really, it's anything. So I'm gonna leave you guys to do this. Pay attention to the height offset and the thickness, okay? The material doesn't matter. I just call them both front desk counter because you can do whatever you want from them. I do recommend you guys look at this picture. So you can see it's very useful. You guys are gonna be making this counter from a wall, okay? So use walls and pay attention to the height of the counter so that you can have the height of your wall properly. And then you're gonna make your counter here. And as you can see, I made my counter out of marble. You can make it whatever you want. The material doesn't matter, but know that you're gonna make this yourself. So it's just walls and floors, okay? And there's detail for it. If you go to the front page here, you can click on this, and this is the detail. It gives you all the elevations, all the measurements that you need, but I'm not gonna show you how to make it. It's just walls and floors, so you should be able to figure it out, okay? What else do we have? Components. All right, last thing of the project, okay? let's look into Revit. And actually, let's look at the floor plan. If we look at the floor plan, you can see that this is a field office. Very obvious because we have laptop, we have tables with computers. We have this main desk here. We have a front desk. We have a printer. We have this little kitchen area. Um, all these things make you understand and make the model really feel alive, right? Because it's not just an empty room that we're modeling. We're actually modeling what's going on inside as well. And that's when components go in. From furniture to appliances and all these little components, let's say these outside desks, all of these are components within Revit. These are just things that you download and you put it in. The front desk is something that I'm making you model, but then these desks are just models that families that are already created somewhere else and you can put into Revit. There's a lot of components here that are within Revit, and all you have to do is look for them in the folders. There are some things, like for example, this fancy kitchen that the kitchen that Revit had, I didn't like it, and I was like, okay, let me look somewhere else. And then I went to, there's websites that you can download models, and I went to BIM Object, and I found this kitchen, and I downloaded it, and I put it into Revit, okay? Everything that's within Revit, you're gonna have to look for the folders and find them. I'm not gonna show you how to do it. I'm not gonna show you which folder they're on. You're just gonna have to look for it. Everything that I downloaded will be is in Canvas, so you can just download it off of there and put it into your project from there. Okay. Let me show you how to put one down in the first place. So the tool that we're going to use, it's under the architecture tab here, is just the component tool. Once we click on it, like I said, there's some stuff that's preloaded in, but we're going to load family. Okay. What I'm going to show you how to load is the printer, and that's on the ground next to the front desk. And I have trouble myself finding this thing because it's always so confusing, but I already know what it is. So we're going to go to special equipment. Within special equipment, you can see it has all these random things that you can put into your project, right? We're going to go to office equipment. And within office equipment, you can go to the last one here, and it's the copier floor. We're going to open it. And once it is loaded in, components are very simple. All I have to do is plop them down. So I have it down there. Let's hide all these things temporarily so we can see what's happening. All right. And we can see that it's there. I can actually see that it's backwards. So let's flip it. And voila, we have our printer on the ground. Super simple. Like I said, components are things that you just put down. You can move them around very easily, but they're just gonna automatically go to the level that you're on. So this doesn't have any offset. It is just on the ground. But yeah, fairly simple. I believe I've covered everything that you're gonna need for your project. Let's go over it one more time. Showed you how to make windows, showed you how to make doors. So all the doors, all the windows, the curtain walls that you're gonna need, components. Oh, you didn't show us the bathroom. They're just components. The toilet is a component, the sink is a component, all the desks, the kitchen, everything, these are just components. All you're really gonna have to worry about is making the everything that goes on the exterior, the stairs, the floors, and then there's just gonna be some components on the outside here as well. And please don't forget of the roof drain because that's also a component, okay? All right, that's it for the teaching portion. You should be able to completely finish this project. And then on the third part of the practicum next week, we're gonna learn how to make sheets, which is the most important thing about all of this process that we're going through to learn Revit, because what you receive and what you guys receive as well is drawings. The reason that you guys know how to make this is because of drawings. And you guys are just remodeling in Revit, something that I modeled, but somebody in real life could look at this drawing and build it in real life. And that's the reason that we work with drawings. And that's what you will be learning in the third practicum. Okay, so that's it. Hope nothing too complicated. Feel free to ask everybody questions. But yeah, see you for the next practicum. All right.